So, I was wondering what to do this week's vlog about, and everyone said you're going to Spain, you should do it about food. And I was thinking about it, and I don't have many good stories about food in Spain, but I do have one, and it goes all the way back to when I first started out as a journalist in F1, and I was working for Formula One magazine. And start of the 2004 season, we got told with 7 days until the season started that F1 magazine was closing down. So I was 23 years old and I just lost my dream job. So what do? I went home and my mother actually came up with the idea that ended up saving my career. She said, why don't you buy a camper van? Dad and I will lend you some money, buy a camper van and just do the season anyway. So I did. I phoned up Richard Woods, who was the press officer at the FIA at the time, and he said, get yourself an outlet, I'll give you a pass. So I phoned Metro newspaper, which was the free newspaper in London. They gave me a pass. I jumped in a camper van and off I drove. First race was Imola, which is kind of fitting because like Senna was my big hero, and 2004 was 10 years on from his death, and ultimately the dream, the seed sort of being put in my head of what I wanted to do for a career. But that weekend finished, and then I had 10 days to drive from Imola to Barcelona. And I looked at a map and I just said, well, where do I want to go today? So one day I went to Pisa, and I just spent the week just driving down the coastline, which was awesome. It was great fun. And then I arrived here in Barcelona, and the fan campsite on top of the hill, which is a lot busier now than I ever remember it being at the time. I have a little scoot around. You see, this is where this piece of technology doesn't work because I've made it focus on my face, not on everything around. I'll do a pan shot of that later so you can actually see where we are. Anyway, so I arrived here, and it's a mega campsite. It's just a couple of minutes walk from the track. And it's so busy and it's so bustling. And I learned two things very fast on arriving here at the Barcelona campsite. First is that the Dutch fans are A, completely insane, and two, are very liberal with their beer. They will hand out free beer all day and all night, which is amazing because they seem to be drinking beer all day and all night, yet still have enough to give away. Very generous, kind folks, the Dutch fans. The other thing I learned very quickly is that the Spanish, certainly at the time, and we're going back to 2004, only had one chant or one song, and it only consisted of one word. Alonso, Alonso, and that went on, and on, and on, and on, and on, and on, all night. There's a third thing I learned. Never trust anybody that tells you that they've tapped into the electricity source. It will blow all the fuses in your camper van and your fridge won't work. And that's what happened to me. Now, I'd also, at this point, run out of money. So I'd been on the road for 10 days. I'd spent every penny I had on fuel to get to Barcelona. I couldn't afford any food at all. And I hadn't eaten in 3 or 4 days. And David Tremaine, who, my mentor, dear friend, took one look at me in the Barcelona Media Centre and said, you look awful. When was the last time you ate? And I said, about 4 days ago. He said, right, you're coming out with us for dinner. And this is where he took me. And so this is where they brought me, actually a table just over there, and saved me from starvation. And for 15 years, we've been coming back. It's now an annual tradition. And I'm here tonight as me. Let me see. Oh, you still haven't figured out how to use this. Me. There's Joe. Say hi, Joe.
Hello. Good evening.
DT is... Say hi, DT.
Hello. No, I'll choke to death. Hello, GT. I know who I am.
The best answer.
And a whole bunch of other friends as it's grown over the years. Mike Dudson was here the very first year. I've ordered the same food. DT's trying to put me off now. I've ordered the same food every single year. Pan Catalan to start, and the jamon iberico. And for main course, because I'd not eaten in 4 days, I thought I might as well make the most of it. The veal fillet with truffle sauce, and it's exquisite. And I've eaten the same thing for 15 years. It's a beautiful, wonderful tradition, and a very happy part of the week. Now the other amazing thing here, believe it or not, is actually the walk to the toilet. Now that sounds a bit odd for a restaurant. However, when you see who's actually been to this restaurant over the years, then you realise that the photographs on the way up to the loo reflect everybody that's ever been here. As I come around the corner, oh, there we go. And I'll give you a little tour of all the amazing people who've been here over the years. So I don't right. So this is it. See, I was going to come and try and come up with a decent conclusion to this vlog.
Okay,
so I'm sitting here with you now, David.
And come up with a conclusion, dude.
I don't know. You're the better journalist. You come up with a
About
conclusion.
what?
So the fact that this is 15 years. This is 15 years.
Anniversary. I never thought it'd still be here 15 years ago when we started.
I don't think I'd still be here 15 years on. But 15 years from you saved my life.
No, not
I
necessarily.
hadn't eaten in like 4 days,
Well,
and you saved my life.
What did we buy you? I bet you had the same as you had.
I had well, you see, you weren't there when I was explaining it earlier on in the movie. I've had the same meal every time we've come here for 15
You know what? I
years.
think I have.
Does that mean that the menu's not actually
Yeah,
that
it probably-
imaginative?
it probably
hasn't
does,
changed that much. What's our conclusion? That this sport's actually just about mates deep down.
Of course it is. It's about the people and it's about loyalty, which some racing drivers I work with don't even begin to understand, and some do.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and it's about being buddies and just love and affection for people, and that's what it's all about. That's why Formula One's so made, because it's all about, like GP Plus, it's all about the passion. People laugh about that, but what else is it about? Passion is what does everything in Formula One.
Love it. That's as good a conclusion as you're going to get. Thanks for tuning in, folks.
But I'll see you in another 15 years. Well, you will.
Yes, exactly. Wait, bye-bye, DT.
Ta-ta.